Hey students, today we're talking about the rule of thirds. This is a rule or a rule of thumb that has to do with composing visual images such as photographs. And when using this rule of thirds, what you do is you take an image and you divide it with two vertical lines and two horizontal lines across the image, thus creating or dividing the image into thirds both vertically and horizontally. Take a look at this image here on the right of the sunset with the tree. You can see that every few seconds the lines are added and then they go away. You can see that the image is then divided into thirds both horizontally and vertically. Now the reason you do that is because the rule is that you should place the most important compositional elements. In this case, probably the tree is the most important one, and probably that horizon line as well on the back are the most important elements. And you see they've been positioned. The tree is on the right third line, and the horizon is on the lower third line. And so elements are lined up in that way. And the theory is that this creates what is considered an image with more energy and more interest than if you were to center the images. If you were to center the horizon or center the tree right in the center of the picture and not along one of those lines, probably would create a less interesting image. And this is a theory, and it's supported in most modern art and most photography and even in movie making. If you've studied the way images are put together, you'll find that the rule of thirds is usually applied. Let's go ahead down a little further here and let's take a look at two images side by side. One of them has had the rule of thirds applied and one of them has not. As we see here, the image on the left does not have the rule of thirds. This stone structure here is sitting right in the middle of the picture. It's not along one of the lines, vertical rule of third lines. And so the image, many people would say, looks a little static, doesn't look as interesting. However, the image on the right has had the rule of thirds applied. And so there's a little more tension, a little more energy, a little more compositional interest in this picture because the rule of thirds has been applied. And so we can see the difference there. The main reason for applying the rule of thirds really is to avoid placing any of your most important elements right in the center of the picture. And so even if you do place the image in the center when you take your photograph, it is possible for you to crop the image using our online editor that I introduced in another lesson. Let's go there now and show you how you could use Pixlr Express to apply the rule of thirds through cropping to one of your images. We've gone over Pixlr Express before, so I won't go over how to use it, but once you open an image, for example, I'm going to open this image of my niece, Andrea, and we'll see it's a nice photograph, but her face, which of course is the most important part of the image compositionally, is placed pretty much right in the center of the photograph. And so if I want to apply the rule of thirds to this image, I'll simply go to the adjustment area and choose the crop tool. And we can see now Pixlr gives us those rule of third lines. And so what you can do is take a corner and start to adjust the size of the picture through cropping. And what I want to do, as you can see here, is place this the crossing of these two lines. This is called a crash point. There are 4 of them, and they are where the vertical and horizontal lines intersect. There's 4 of them. And so I can take this upper left crash point and place it right there. I can also move the whole cropping window around like I'm doing here, as well as just taking the corners and dragging them until I get what I consider to be the best composition. Again, placing the rule of third lines, in this case, right there between her eyes, and you can see I can then apply the image and get my cropped image, which I think looks pretty good. And we can see the finished image there. I think it's a little bit more interesting with her face right along the rule of thirds. And so that's a real quick overview of rule of thirds and how to apply it to your pictures.